to take you now to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where the family of Alton Sterling will be speaking. The attorneys are up there right now. You may remember this is the case of a 37-year-old black man who was lying on his back outside a convenience store in Baton Rouge when he was shot by two police officers. We've learned from the Justice Department that they are expected to announce that there will be no charges filed against the two officers involved in Alton Sterling's death. Let's go ahead and listen in to the attorneys.
In this situation, but they explained why, and we understood why. It didn't meet their threshold for the higher standard of the Department of Justice. But let me tell the people of Baton Rouge and across the country what is the great news. They hands down agree that the actions of the police officers that night were outrageous, were inappropriate, were not following procedure, were unexplainable. But that meets the threshold of the Attorney General's office, where this investigation will now be going. And in our opinion, and in my experience with these cases, Attorney General Jeff Landry has a phenomenal case against these officers. Not strong, phenomenal case against these officers. There can't be any inaction by Attorney General Jeff Landry. If you follow his history, if you follow him, he tries to do the right thing. He has already prosecuted officers who have used force and killed someone in Louisiana. The second officer is up for trial soon. So this isn't his first rodeo. And why do we say outrageous? We learned some new things today. We learned that Officer Salamone walked up to Alton Sterling and put a gun to his head and said, "I'll kill you, bitch." You heard me correctly. We heard from them that Officer Salamone kept instigating this situation. You heard me correctly. The Attorney General has a phenomenal case because no police officer should conduct themselves like that. No police officer. We all saw the video where he was shot 3 times. What we didn't see is he was also shot 3 more times. No officer should conduct themselves like that. Officer Salamone is not upholding the standard of the great officers in Baton Rouge. So we demand that the Attorney General open his investigation, proceed forward, to prove not only that the department down here has a higher standard and disapproves of the actions of Mr. Salamone that night, but to speak to America and to show, just like in Walter Scott yesterday, that when an officer does something, he can be held accountable. But it is not an indictment against all officers. It's an indictment against the one that does not hold the high standard of being a police officer. It's the most powerful, highest position in this country. They can arrest you, they can take your life, they can save your life, they can protect you. With great burden comes great responsibility for police officers. That's why they have to be respected, but that's why they have to be held accountable when they do something like Officer Salamone. So we're not angry. We're not gonna, as I said yesterday, let rage rule, because it's not over. Everyone online, everyone on social media was saying, "Oh, it's over. DOJ isn't doing anything." That's fine. They can step aside. Attorney General Landry can do something and will do something. I believe he'll do something. And hold him accountable. Accountability is all people ever ask for. You get too caught up in black, white, who's right, who's wrong. You run to your corners. Just give justice when justice is due. It is due in these situations. The actions of the officers that night were absolutely heinous. And the only reason that they can't proceed with their charges is because the angle at the end, they can't prove for themselves independently where his right hand was. They're not saying he was reaching for a gun, for all the people out there that believe he was. They're not saying that. They're just saying they can't disprove the mindset of Officer Salamone, who believed he was. But our position is, how can you believe the mindset of someone who first walks up and sticks a gun to somebody's head? That shows you where his mindset was when he first arrived. So of course we're not going to believe he was reaching for a gun when you instigated the whole thing and ran up on a man who was not flashing a weapon and stuck a gun to his head. So we're waiting on justice from Attorney General Landry. And I'm telling you, it is coming from the evidence that we've seen so far.
Let me just say that we are even more shocked after leaving the meeting with the officials from the Justice Department as we were when we saw the video. But we are encouraged that this is only one step in a long process. We're encouraged that the Attorney General, once he gets the information that we saw today and that we heard today, we don't think he has a choice but to bring charges against these officers. At a minimum, these officers ought to be disciplined and fired. At a maximum, they should be locked up and sent to state prison in Louisiana. This is a long journey. We ask everybody to stay vigilant in this journey. We ask that everybody support this family, support the Sterling family, support his children. We're asking people from around the world to get involved in this effort. And we encourage the Attorney General to look at this file, to vet it, and do the right thing. And the right thing is that he will formally charge these guys. He will formally bring charges against these officers. We recognize that there is a different standard at the federal level than there is at the state level. And that threshold is a little different. But we think that the federal government has laid the case out for the Attorney General. And so we encourage Attorney General Landry just to do the right thing.
Justin Bamberg, you know, when we look at everything that we heard today, everything that you've heard from these attorneys is accurate. And what you see in front of you is a group that's united. And we're united for justice. Officer Salamone doesn't need to have a badge or carry a service pistol. Quite frankly, if his supervisors and those individuals tasked with hiring and firing officers in the Baton Rouge Police Department knew what we heard today with regards to his actions that day, he should have been fired a long, long time ago. So right now, what we're going to ask is that Officer Salamone be terminated immediately from the Baton Rouge Police Department, and we will get justice. What needs to happen is local government, the state government, needs to be able to look Alton's loved ones, Alton's children, the mother of his children, his other family members, and everybody in this community and make it clear that Alton Sterling's life matters, that his family's life matters, and that each and every citizen in this community matters. And that decision can be made, and we think it will be made.
And I believe that this incident has happened with DOJ in a very offensive manner, not only to my district, but to the state and certainly to the city. I believe that this information should not have been leaked without talking to the family first. So it is already disheartening that he was killed on the soil, but to add injury to insult, that you all would allow this to be released without speaking to the Alton Sterling family, without speaking to the attorneys, without speaking to the governor, without speaking to the mayor, is offensive to me. And I'm demanding change in this whole process from the top down.
You talk.
Thank you.
Hey, hi, I'm Sandra Sterling. I want to tell y'all some of the hurt I had yesterday. I was at work, and when I got back to my car and I seen my phone blowing up, I couldn't believe what I heard on the phone. And I'm on the interstate and I lost it. I panicked. So yesterday to me was the first day that it happened. I went back to July the 5th at 1:30 in the morning. I suffered all day yesterday. I suffered. And what I heard today, the suffering still continues. So now that I know that it's not a civil matter anymore, now it's a human matter. Because Alton was human. He's no longer here, but his voice still will be heard through us. So stay behind us because we love Alton and we don't want this to end. Remember his name.
I'm Quietta McMillan. I'm the mother of Alton Sterling's oldest son. And I'm just asking everybody to just step forward so we can continue to get justice. Because it can't stop right here. We deserve it. If nobody else, we deserve it. So Jeff Landry, please, open up your heart, your eyes, and give us the justice that we deserve.
I just want to tell everybody thank you for supporting me and my family. Thank you for supporting my father, who is no longer here with us, but spiritually he is still here. No matter if we don't get justice or not, we still have to depend on God, because guess what? God is an unjust God, and he will always be there for us no matter what. He may not be there when we ask for him, but he will always be there exactly when we need him. So I just want to let everybody know, no matter what goes on behind those closed doors in that court, it doesn't matter. You still have to depend on God, because I depend on God every day. God wakes me up every day. He puts me to sleep every day. I think of my daddy every night I go to sleep. God is there for me. My mama, my family is there for me. I have my brothers and sisters to look after, 11 of them. I have to look after every last one of them, because guess what? I'm that next legacy. I'm here after my dad. My dad is now gone, so now I'm here. So I'm that legacy, and I have to look after those kids. No matter what anyone says on social media or anything, I'm here. I would never choose money over anything. I will always be here for my family, and God will always be here for all of us. Thank you.
Kim.
I'm Kimberly Pearson. I'm the mother of Alton's 11-year-old son. And I just want the justice to be served for him. He didn't deserve it. He really didn't. He was a good man. And my son tells me every day he misses his dad. And I just want justice to be served for him.
I'm Andrika Williams, Alton Sterling's 3 youngest kids, Alton Jr., Journey, and Josiah. It's a hard pill to swallow. My son, every day he talk about his dad, missing him, and Alton didn't deserve what that man execute Alton like he was a dog in the street. And these people in the Justice Department, they like it's nothing, but if it was one of their family members, they would have locked the person up like it was nothing. But I pray for justice. I pray for the Sterling family and all his kids. And I thank everybody for everything, all the support they giving everyone. Thank you.
Just briefly, a few questions.
Where did you get the information about what the officer said for Mr. Sterling?
Directly from the investigators for the Department of Justice. They told us very detailed facts. We asked why they started the meeting, they were so disturbed. And we kept asking, and they told us. They told us verbatim what they said.
There was enhanced video, enhanced audio that many of us had never seen before. And from that enhanced audio, you heard the words of this officer who walked out to this gentleman, put a gun to his head, and said, "Bitch, I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah, and this is before the struggle.
Yeah.
This is before the ground, the tackle. This is, we'll have to see the video for ourselves.
Given that information, what reason did they give for not pursuing the charge?
Their reasoning was that the shooting didn't happen right then. It happened 47 seconds later, and it's the immediacy of it, which is fine if that's what they're going to say, was their factor in. But that is great ammunition for the Attorney General's office to pursue charges showing the mental state of that officer from the beginning.
The totality of the event that they measured the standard by was 71 seconds. 71 seconds was the totality of the event. And that was from the time when he told, or Salamone told Sterling, I'm going to shoot you. And at the next instance, at 71 seconds later, he shot him.
And let me say this, guys. I think all of us, and I think I can speak for Chris and Mike, we've all been measured in our statements in the past because we wanted to give this process an opportunity to play out, and Justin as well. And I can tell you, after what we heard today, there's no doubt that this man needs to be prosecuted. This man came up to Alton Sterling, threatened to kill him, and at the end of the day, he killed him. And so there's no need to be measured anymore. We have the facts. We know what happened, and now it's time for the Attorney General to do his job.
Your reaction to the fact that the rumors were true that the DOJ was not going to press those charges against this officer? Your reaction to that?
I mean, look, our reaction, I can say, is disappointing. It's more disappointing the way that the news came out. But what I will say is this. There's a different standard on the federal level, to be clear, than there is on the state level, and we have to keep that in mind. And so with that in mind, I will say, I think even the DOJ would tell you that they found Blaine Salamone's actions disturbing and maybe warranting of further investigation on the state level.
How difficult was it to hear this news from media reports and not hear it directly from the DOJ? How difficult was that?
It was hard because the whole 9 months, in my heart and my mind, I was thinking that they was gonna come with the that they were gonna prosecute. But to hear that they wasn't, it tore me up all night. I went back to day one on the floor crying and hysterical. So it hurt me really, really bad to find out that way.
How did they explain away this information being leaked? How did they explain away the information?
They told us that it was DC or, I mean, they really didn't explain other than our push that heads should roll for that. Someone needs to be fired. Because I even explained to them their damage was directly to the Sterling family and the community, but it also took away from the Scott family yesterday, who got a prosecution, which is what we want and will end up with in this case. Because now the news was the leak, and no one had been called, none of the lawyers, none of the family, so that was just terrible. And somebody should be in trouble for that.
So there's 6 videos in total that the FBI has utilized in determining what they put together at Quantico. They pieced together 6 different ones, a dash cam, 2 body cams, 2 witnesses, and I may be missing one other.
The store cam.
So they pieced all of this together over a long sequence of threads to try and isolate every second that I just identified in the 71 to come up with a whole analysis, which then brought in the audio and it brought in other elements, which allowed them to make the statements that what these officers, at least Salamone, did was extremely disturbing. That leaves a lot of question and a lot of reasoning for Jeff Landry to pick up this file and to say, you know what, these officers cannot conduct themselves in this manner and protect our citizens.
Back to the question about the leak. It's very important to note this family did everything they were asked of by the federal government. They were very patient. They did every single thing they were asked of. And the one thing they could not...
We've been listening to the attorneys and family members of the Alton Sterling case talking about the case itself. He is, of course, the 37-year-old black man who was killed in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. 2 police officers will not face federal charges. We learned that a little bit earlier today. The family coming out very emotionally, as you saw a few moments ago, talking about wanting justice and missing Alton. One of the other pieces of information that the attorneys have really been trying to hit this afternoon is that they believe the actions of the police officer that night were not following procedure. And while the federal government will not press charges, they're hoping that the Attorney General for Louisiana will take the case and press charges against the officer. We heard attorneys saying earlier that the accountability is all people are asking for, that at a minimum they'd like these 2 officers to be disciplined and fired, and at a maximum they'd like them sent to jail. Of course, we will see how this plays out. It could be several more weeks before the Attorney General in Louisiana puts in his information, Jeff Landry, about what he will do in this particular case. We're going to continue to follow what's happening this afternoon. So so many different events, including issues at the White House. We have the Alton Sterling case. Wall Street we're watching as well, and the Fed did not do a rate hike this afternoon. We'll be right back with all of it.